I'm at Albany, Oregon, waiting for a train. Should be here in, well, actually it's delayed, so about 45 minutes, I think, or so. So I'm gonna take a walk around. Not much to say until I get on the train. One thing about today's weather is, look at those blue, clear skies, those white, fluffy clouds. But over here you can see darker clouds, and it was raining a little bit. So, you know, it's early in spring and it's still kind of a winter weather here, mixed sunshine and rain, and I'm curious to see how that will be where I'm going. So I'm still waiting. The train is going to come almost 50 minutes late, and so ironically the late time is about equivalent to what the journey time should be between here and Eugene. And it's not like going to ruin my day, but it is a little bit annoying because one thing, the trip between Corvallis and Albany is difficult because those buses don't come often, so I have to arrange those. So I would normally be waiting 40 minutes anyway, and so now I'm going to be waiting another 40 minutes. So none of this is a deal breaker for me, but I can see for a lot of people, you know, you have one bad experience with a train being late like this, especially if you have something important to do, something on schedule, and it can really discourage people about train travel. Not everybody is as devoted as I am. Anyway, so hopefully I'm gonna put this kind of frustrating wait behind me when this train comes, which should be in 7 minutes. Another thing about this, like one of the frustrations, is when I got here it said 11 minutes late, then it went up to 20, 30 minutes late, 40 minutes late. So part of the frustration is just not knowing what's going on. You know, I do know that it's past Salem, but other than that, I don't know. Anyway, this is not the main point of this trip, but I do want to, you know, acknowledge reality. Trains can sometimes be frustrating. Well, there we are. Hopefully my journey southward will not be delayed more than it already is, but time to stop whining and get on that train. So I'm on the train and it looks like we are moving. Hopefully we will continue to move fast. There's people waiting outside. Those people are waiting for the north-going Coast Starlight, which normally these trains would be far apart, but when they get behind schedule, they can interfere with each other. So the Coast Starlight is probably having to wait because this train came in late and had to board. Also, there's construction work at the station. Train's actually pretty busy. Not showing it here, but it is pretty busy for Albany to Eugene. They're still taking a while to leave Albany. Haven't gotten up to speed yet. It's interesting for me on the train, below a certain threshold, I feel kind of impatient. I'm like, why aren't we moving? And then just a little bit faster, like what might be happening right now. And I feel, hey, we're getting somewhere.
That means one train at a time. So once that train gets passed by us, we will be on the way once again. Thank you.
That was fast. So right now we've picked up speed, not going full speed, but like I said, we've passed the threshold where I feel we're moving, making progress, and I'm not too frustrated. And it's raining out. Well, this is helpful, or partially helpful. This tells us our speed, although I hope it is not 711. Anyway, so that means we'll probably get to Eugene close enough for me. So here's an idea of a snack on the train. Box of mini wheat thins, block of cheese, and the train does give you free butter knives. Plastic butter knives. So that might be overdoing it for what's basically a 50-minute train trip, but it's fun. So right now we're in North Eugene. Kind of hard to say how far it is from the station because sometimes it'll slow down before I get to the station, but it should be like 5 minutes. And as usual, I'm facing a frame rule where the city bus I want to take leaves only every half hour now. So I'm kind of anxious because it's 20 minutes before that bus leaves, which gives me 10 minutes to get downtown and then 10 minutes to run 6 blocks. should be able to do it, but you know, it always can be a little bit anxious, and that's why delays tend to pile up. It can be anxious. Slowing down. I might have to forsake the formalities because I might just have to run between here and the transit center. Even though, of course, I'd love to show how fun downtown Eugene is. Probably won't have time for much of that. Whoa, well, something's going on there. Anyway, Eugene, all is a fun place, especially it's spring. Spring is in the air, lots of fun, but I have to run. This is the Lane Transit District Transit Center. 6 or 8 blocks away from the train station. Usually not a problem. Today, kind of a problem. I think I'm 4 minutes early for my bus. I hope. And I hope I can find it. I think I know where it is. So success with a minute to spare. So all of this that I'm writing about now, I'll be walking down later, is the plan. I just got off the bus. This is the end of its route. And my route goes, I believe, up in this direction. This is Amazon Creek, which we've seen before. It has a long course to follow. And this is along the Amazon Creek Trail, that goes from here and goes pretty much as a greenway that goes back down to Eugene. But before I do that, I'm going to go a little bit further up the trail here because there's more of the Amazon Headwaters here, and there's a little bit of a climb that I have to take. This is the trail upwards. I've never been here before, so I have no idea how steep this is. I mean, I looked at it on a topographical map, but topographical map, what looks like 100 feet can be 1,000 feet. So I guess I'm going to find out. So the creek is moving pretty fast in this location and dropping pretty fast. And over there we can see this rivulet. That looks like that's coming in from a path. So that's actually not normal. That's like a overflow because it's been raining. Speaking of it being raining, it is still kind of mixed with drizzle and fog, but a pretty comfortable day for a hike so far. It's been raining off and on, so let's hope that it's more off than on. And about a month ago, when I was walking to Junction City from Monroe, I said I was surprised that there was no plants leafing or flowering out, and that the first to do so would be the bearberry. And here we have what looks to be bearberry, or something very closely related in the rose family, and it's pretty far developed for a few days into spring. But if you look around, well, we have some evergreens, but otherwise, you know, spring is just starting here. So this isn't just one trail here, it's an entire network of trail. These are going along in an easement for electrical power cables, and they're actually very well marked, but I don't really know where these places go. I will probably just go back the way I came in because it's easier to get lost in a mile or two than might be apparent at first. Anyway, so I'm going to continue up this trail, and I think this is going where I'm going. Well, this is where the trail is turned, and I believe this is my trail, but it is a little bit different. You know, I looked at Google Street View for the trail, and it looked on Street View like this idyllic little mountain trail, and now we're in something a lot more scrappy. But this happens a lot when I'm out and wandering. Google Maps is not perfect, especially when you only take a glance at it. So let's see if this leads somewhere, if this is going to dead end. Well, this looks kind of like a dead end, doesn't it? Okay, well, maybe it's this way. If not, I'm wandering around too much and it continues to be scrappy and unaesthetic and possibly dangerous. I'll turn around because the main thing I actually wanted to see was the Amazon Trail in the city. This was kind of a bonus. So let's follow this for a while and see where it leads, and if it doesn't lead anywhere, return home. Well, this hope lets me know there's goats, and I'm guessing that leash your canine friends. Well, people must walk dogs here. I also don't know this. I'm a little bit confused. I guess I'm going to check Google Maps before I decide whether I want to go on or whether I should go on. All of that over there doesn't look exactly where I want to go, so I am going to return back this way. I hope that's not too much of a disappointment, but as we say, the mountain will still be there tomorrow. So we're back to this split in the trail. Didn't seem to be any good options there. And this trail goes on for a while, and up there there's a road. And I don't know if that road would have a sidewalk by it or if that's just some highway up in the hills. This is access to Amazon Headwaters Trail. So, yeah, maybe this was my way all the way. I'm gonna try this at least for 15 minutes or so, see if there's a good thing. The other thing about this trip is that because I was delayed, actually I only ended up getting here a half hour later than I thought I was, but still a little bit delayed. And even though we've had daylight savings time change, it's light past 7. Also, it is a little bit later than I want it to be, so I don't want to spend too much time futzing around, if you know what I mean. Also, is like this a trail or is this just a turnoff? If I walk down this hill, do I have to walk up? This is the type of stuff I'm thinking about right now. Also, my shoelaces are untied. I'm still a little bit frustrated and annoyed by the delay. I know that I should be mature enough that sometimes things come late. It shouldn't bother me. But a lot of what I was hoping for today didn't really happen. So, you know, I guess that's part of the outdoor life. Well, here we are. I actually saw somebody jogging down it, and what does the sign say? Does the sign tell us Ridgeline Trail System, Fox Hollow Trailhead? I'm going to call this the trail I'm going to take. If it doesn't turn out to be exactly what I want, you know, it doesn't matter. It is a trail. When I make videos like this, I realize I'm making them for kind of a double audience, because there's probably like 3 or 4 minutes of me, you know, being on the train and stuff before we get to the video of, you know, this park and trail system. And might have 2 different audiences for that. But I do that on purpose because one thing I don't believe is that nature is this capital N nature place where you magically go and you're totally separated from the rest of the world. So one of the reasons why I show how I get here is to show that natural locations are connected to social locations and that it can sometimes be difficult to access them. So I hope that nobody didn't like the wait to get to our natural area. Also, as far as this being a natural location, this looks like a pretty well-developed second growth forest. I don't think this is an old growth forest. I think this has been cut down, you know, sometime in the past 100 years. And most of the trees look like a pretty mature natural forest, but we also do have a lot of invasives, including a lot of blackberries. There was, I think, more invasives as we got closer to, you know, the cut area, the easement for the power lines. But even here, this is natural, but it still looks kind of scrappy and recovering to me. Well, what is that up there? Is that a barn? A storage building? Is that a storage building for road equipment, for equipment to work on the electrical lines? I don't know, but it was interesting. But I'm gonna just continue down the trail. So if you're from Portland, where I am right now, would be roughly comparable to Forest Park in a couple ways. One thing is it's close to the city and easy to access, but once you get in here with the steep terrain, it kind of feels like you're way out there. Not as big as Forest Park. Not quite the same deal, but that's kind of what I would compare it to. I've only been walking for like 20 minutes since I entered this trail, but it does feel like I'm in the woods. I think the end of this trail is just around the corner. Saw a car driving just up there. So I think that's where this trail ends. Oh, look, we have a boardwalk. It's all as fun. So 0.1 miles, that's great news. Yes, excellent. This is what I was looking for. And of course, I could have turned around before I got to this point, but you know, I went this far. Let's just make another 5 or 10 minutes to get to this trailhead. And also, I saw this surprise here. Actually saw this for a while without knowing what it is. This certainly looks like this is snow here. Here we are, snow, or the remnants of snow. The last snow of spring. So up here I am, I think, around 1,000 feet of altitude, and I think the weather was a little bit colder in Eugene. So yeah, we still have snow on the ground. That's an interesting thing to see. So the Ridgeline Trail continues this way, and somewhere up in that direction, and somebody who's more familiar with Eugene might want to correct me about this, is Spencer Butte, the highest point in Eugene, at about 1,800 feet. And when I was looking at the trail, a little bit optimistic, I was like, yeah, I can climb another 1,000 feet from here. And the thing is, it's only, I think, 2 miles from here to the top of Spencer Butte on the trail. But that is a hiking, almost like a climbing trail. Might involve some scrambling. So nothing I can do today go up somewhere that way. So instead I'm going to turn around here because I reached my point, and I'm going to continue back down the trail I came, and then I'm going to see the Amazon Trail through Eugene. So apparently there's another trail that goes up this way, and I don't want to take that trail, not just because it goes upwards, but because it might twist and turn and go somewhere where I don't want to go. So I'm just going to be safe and go back on the trail I came in on, which should be easier because it's downhill. That might be hard for my ankles and knees, but this is my trip. All of a sudden, sky got darker, wind picked up. You know, there's always a chance that, you know, a driving rain could come and soak me to the skin, but that's always a chance, so I don't worry about it too much. I do have spare clothing in case I get soaked. But mostly I'm just going to enjoy this walk downward. So it started to rain lightly. Luckily, with all this tree cover, it's going to moderate that rain. Trees are going to catch some of the rain. It'll keep dripping for a while, but it won't be a downpour. Also, right now it is 4:40 p.m. I'm actually going back to Corvallis on the Greyhound, which leaves from Eugene at 7:40. So I've actually only been here for an hour and 40 minutes, and I have 3 hours to get back home. So I shouldn't be too worried. The difference is I'm going to be walking back instead of taking the bus up, but it should be pretty short. But as always, you know, there is a little bit of nervousness, even as I should be enjoying being in this beautiful forest. And, you know, sometimes trails will get longer or shorter than you remember on the way back. And one other thing, actually, no, I'll save that for later. For now, let's just enjoy the trail. So this is the trail. That's the way I came in on. This is not the way I came in on, which is sometimes a bad idea. But it looks like it's a trail that goes somewhere. So I'm going to try it. I'm going to try it and see what happens. One thing I've noticed, I said not a lot of spring plants were coming up yet. The osoberry was. Also here we have Heracleum, cow parsnip. That is a plant that comes up pretty early because it has to grow pretty big. These will be, you know, 2 meters tall, 10 feet tall in a month or two, in a couple months. So they start growing early. Well, it looks like we are somewhere in a residential neighborhood. Trail is gonna leave off here. I think that's the park. So yeah, when I came in, it was just over there, I think. So pretty close to where I came in. And it's still raining, and some of this rain actually was like a little ice flakes when it hit me. So this is wintry mix snow that's just melted. But that's not going to keep me down. So this is the North Amazon Running Trail. There's also a South Amazon Running Trail on the other side of the creek there. And I'm going to be walking and not running. Hopefully, you know, Eugene is a health-conscious city. But hopefully me walking instead of running won't get me in trouble. Not going to set any 4-minute miles today on foot. So yeah, I'm just going to continue down this trail, and we basically have a parkway here for several miles. So, you know, now I kind of know where I'm going, so maybe I can relax a little bit. So the trail runs for several miles up into what is effectively a canyon or a valleyette, a hollow that heads up into the hills south of Eugene. And right now it's in kind of this low density residential neighborhood. Looks like it's a lot of houses from the 60s and 70s. But as we go down, it will pass through different neighborhoods, presumably. This is the first time I've been here. So I'm just seeing what there is to see. So from this bridge, we can see Amazon Creek, and here it has a really straight course, so I assume it's been channelized, because I think naturally it would wind a lot more, and it's kind of in this little valley between the hills to the west and the hills to the east. And as we saw when we went to West Eugene last summer, Amazon Creek actually goes into the Long Tom River, and then the Long Tom River goes through Monroe and enters the Willamette somewhere north of Monroe. And so even though this creek gets very close to the Willamette, you know, in downtown Eugene, it actually has a long way to go. And this line of hills is actually the Continental Divide, so to speak, between the water that's going to go into Amazon Creek and into the Long Tom, and the water that's going to go directly into the Willamette. The interesting thing about traveling, whether it's short or long, is that sometimes the stress of traveling makes it more immersive, and sometimes it makes it less immersive. And towards the beginning of this trip, where like I was delayed, I was antsy, it kind of pulled me out of the trip. And then for some reason, you know, once I was out in the woods and there was a point where I'm like, I'm lost in the woods and it's like snowing, oh no. That actually made it feel more real. And now I'm relaxed but immersive, which is kind of the best flow state for traveling. Because I'm kind of surprised about where I am, don't know exactly where it is, but I know where this trail goes. My schedule is pretty good. So right now I'm kind of in the zone, even though I'm just like walking down a suburban street. So right here we have the creek that I was following for quite a way actually. And then in here we have another creek coming in, and it looks to be bigger, and they're joining together. And therefore obviously the creek becomes bigger. But this is culverted. It looks like it's coming in from somewhere else. Maybe it's running free, but this is like a sign. This creek here is not in its natural state. So this is mile 4 on the South Amazon Running Trail. It is also mile 0.5 on the South Amazon Running Trail. I guess that's just based on what direction you start from. I don't know, I've walked for a while. Oh, and look, it's raining again. Yay, rain. As is often the case, you know, I'm closer to the city. I know where I am. I'm on schedule, all that feels good. But also the aesthetics are a little bit less exciting than when I was up in the woods and walking around in the woods. So that's all as a trade-off, you know. Knowing where you are is comfortable, but a lot of times it's a little bit less exciting. And my main excitement now is based on how much I'm going to get rained on. So this one says mile 4.5, but on the other side we're still on 0.5, so I'm more confused about how that works now. I hope this is not like some type of Red Queen scenario where I'm still in the same place, because I have a bus to catch. I should explain about that. I will in a minute. So over that way is where Amazon Running Trail ends, but not really, because just on the other side of the intersection, Amazon Park begins and the trail continues in Amazon Park, but the Amazon Park trail should not be confused with the Amazon running trail, but I am going to confuse it anyway. So I was wrong. This is still the Amazon running trail, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I will cease to make a federal case about what things are called and just kind of follow them and go with the flow, dude. So my bus back to Corvallis is a Greyhound, and it's good thing is that it goes directly to Corvallis, unlike the point buses which go to Albany. Then I have to take a bus back. And it leaves at 7:40, which is good. That gives me time. The unfortunate thing, or possible unfortunate thing, is it's coming from Sacramento. It's the Sacramento to Seattle route. And between Sacramento and Eugene, I think that's about 600 miles or so, maybe 500, 400. It's a lot of miles. So there's a lot of places where that bus can get late, can be delayed. So what I'm hoping, a little bit late is okay, but I don't want to be 2 or 3 hours late and to be waiting in the cold. But like I said, this is all part of the game, I guess. So I said only a few spring plants were out. Here's another one that's out, is rose, and you can still see last year's berries and then the leaves budding out. Not the flowers yet, not for a while. And where I am now, I'm a couple hundred feet further south, or couple hundred feet lower in elevation than when I was in the woods. So spring is maybe budding here. My God, looks like we might have some budding, not alder, hazel. So spring might be coming to here because we're a couple hundred feet lower in altitude. So this is Amazon Park, starting with, we have a dog park, or maybe 2 related dog parks there. So this park is a continuation of the Amazon Trail, the Amazon running trail. But slightly separate, and also, like this park, like other parks we've seen, has a lot of little parks or little features inside the park. It's much more expansive, and I won't be seeing all of it today, but I will be seeing the part along the trail, which you can see here. This trail is turned to pavement, but over there it looks like it goes back to being dirt or some other surface. There is, for example, a skate park over there. Here we have some exercise equipment. Looks like adult exercise equipment. That there might be the transit center. There is a little transit center attached to this park. When I was planning it, I was thinking if I was late and couldn't get back to downtown in time, I could always take a bus from here, but it looks like I still have 2 hours. So I'm just gonna continue down the trail. And from here, this majestic, cloud-topped peak in the distance, that is Spencer Butte. So that was like my stretch goal for the day, but I didn't do. And presumably, like if you see that part to the left, that was where I was up when I turned around. This way. This park is much more expansive than I anticipated, even after looking at maps. It really feels like a nature park. You can see, the trees on either side. And when I was looking at a map, I thought it looked more like an urban greenway, but it feels like a nature park to me right now. I believe this is the end of Amazon Park, or the start of it if you're looking at it that way. And from now on, instead of following the trail, I think I'll just be on the sidewalk. And this is 24th, and downtown starts around 18th, so basically we're right outside of downtown. We can see Skinner Butte, so kind of the end of the adventure, and I'm almost back in Logic too. But look, not only did the trail end and turn into a sidewalk, now the sidewalk ends, and I don't know if I'm even supposed to be walking here, but no sign that I'm not. Somewhat ironic, but it is also something I've talked about, that even in places that have a lot of recreational and natural areas that they expect people to be walking on, they also expect people to get there via car, and walking is still not considered normal, or else I'm just dumb and this trail over here is where I'm supposed to continue. Actually, so after giving that big old speech and stuff, I think I'm just supposed to be on this trail. I'm gonna try that. Okay then, well there we go. And one reason I wasn't sure about coming over here is I think that is South Eugene High School. These are the fields for South Eugene High School, so I didn't know if this was public. I thought this was part of the campus. But this looks like where I want to go. Earlier I said that Amazon Creek was channelized. Here it's canalized. Those are two different words in English. And obviously, you know, it's kind of a disappointment to see this, probably due to historical reasons, and we saw later on that it, you know, the channel of the creek was being renaturalized. But here, it's just two concrete walls, the water between it. This is 18th Avenue, and this is where I said I would be back in downtown. People from Eugene, feel free to make comments about how dumb I am and I don't know what I'm talking about. But basically, kind of close to downtown at least, because, you know, you start seeing multi-story buildings. Further than I've walked. I still have a couple blocks till Logic. And right now it's about 6:30 and my bus leaves at 7:40. So I think I actually got it just on the nose, because I won't have to wait too long, but I won't be cutting it too close. Right here is the channelized Amazon Creek, and across the street over there it turns and heads westward, and then you get the western Amazon Creek Trail that I did back in September, I believe. But we're not doing that way today. So I think I'm a few blocks east of downtown Eugene. I think that trail's a little off center, so to speak. But still everything here is pretty obvious about how to get to go where you're going. So I'll just keep on walking down the street. Not a big Eugene expert, but I'm getting there more every time I visit. There's the county courthouse. There's actually a federal courthouse close to here too. Here's our big 70s brutalist Wells Fargo office. Here's our fountain. This is the farmers market platform. And Kesey Square is actually a block from here. Do I have time to check it out? I think I do. And right now I'm thinking about scarlet begonias. Once in a while you get shown in the light in the strangest of places if you look at it right. This is the Eugene station. Normally this would be the end of my journey. I would know where I was going from here. But today I'm taking the Greyhound bus, and the stop changed from being near Springfield to being near here. And I have the address, but I don't know where it is, and there's always like a little bit of anxiety, like, what if I'm just a little bit off? But I have 40 minutes to find it. I'm sure I'll find it. So this is not very helpful. 131 East 5th Avenue, which is listed as a location for the Greyhound platform, is a Buffalo Exchange. And there's no sign or anything of a bus station here. So what I'm going to do is go over to the train station, who, if nothing else, can at least tell me the address. I'm 43 years old. I've been riding Greyhound for almost 40 years. I should not be disappointed by Greyhound, but yeah, I am. Even after they've been acquired by Flixbus, still disappointed. Also, this station is closed. The last outgoing train leaves at 6:15. That makes sense, which is a bus. The last train is a bus. And the sign just says contact Greyhound. So I'm actually going to do that just to make sure I'm in the right place. So the address is the Buffalo Exchange, and currently I'm one of 5 people. We were kind of milling around trying to figure out, is it behind here? Is it somewhere in this parking lot? Is it on the street? And I actually tried to call Greyhound, and I waited for about, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes to get an operator, and the operator said they couldn't hear me and they hung up. And the chat option wants me to input a whole bunch of stuff, and I don't know if it'd be any quicker. So this is something that, like, in a lot of times, yeah, you can figure stuff out. Travelers, a lot of times, are kind of flustered people, and there's no sign. There's the address is a Buffalo Exchange. So I'm going to say this is pretty annoying, and, you know, it's like, if this bus pulls up somewhere else and I can't get on it, then I don't know, it's $100 for a hotel or something. So kind of disappointed right now. So there it is, presumably, so crisis averted. Maybe I was getting too worked up, but yeah, it's kind of annoying. Thought of being stranded always messes with me. Okay, well, I'm going to put this down because I'm going to get on that there bus, and then pretty much straight shot home, 40, 50 minutes. A lot of people getting on the bus here. I'm getting off. I guess it makes sense. It's a Friday night. Might be spring break coming up, so people going back to Portland, where have you. So yeah, this trip, like a lot of my trips, we crossed a lot of different areas and states of mind, and I like to do that because I like to show, you know, there's parts of this trip that felt really peaceful. I was out in nature. There was other times where I was anxious, dealing with lots of stuff. So, you know, trips are like that. Sometimes you're really vibing, as the kids say, and sometimes you're like frustrated because why is your bus stop at a Buffalo Exchange? Anyway, so this is a nice trip. Spring hasn't yet come, you know, we've seen signs of spring, but like probably in a week or two we'll notice them. And I still have lots of other trips planned, but for now I'm going home.